So, what do you get when you combine one of anime and manga's most interesting worlds and the tropes of a young adult novel, all the while making it the length of a typical light novel? You get an alright enough time, I guess. That's really the best way to describe Attack on Titan Garrison Girl. An alright enough time. It's not particularly offensive in any way. It doesn't ruin the world that Isayama built, but it also doesn't really do much to add to it. There are a couple of neat details that are added, like limbs being left over in the facial hair of Titans, a new abnormal Titan that is kinda neat, and a little bit of world building here and there. Other than that, it doesn't contribute much to the world while doing nothing to actively take away from it. It's just a book set in Attack on Titan that you can read, have an okay enough time in, and then move on without really being actively outraged or enthralled with it. The characters in Attack on Titan Garrison Girl are also fine. They are given enough character to feel like more than cardboard cutouts, but also don't really get enough time to become fully fleshed out human beings. The book's short length actively hurts its characters as big stretches of time are covered in a span of a couple pages, and major developments of them happen at such a rapid pace it is hard to get invested as a reader. Not to say you can't get invested, however. Rosalie, the main character of the book, does have some nice character growth. She starts out as a rich girl who thinks she knows the way of the world and can help whip up their Trost Garrison into tip-top shape because she went into the military academy. However, she grows and realizes just how really little she understands of the world and becomes someone truly capable of doing what she had originally set out to do. Her love interest, Jack, also gets some character growth, going from an absolute jackass to still arguably an absolute jackass, but a much less cruel one who truly cares for his squad. The supporting characters, what little there are, also stand out well enough, from Rosalie's other two squad mates, who get a little development of their own, to the standout lieutenant of the garrison, to Rosalie's own father. There are also cameos from Attack on Titan's main cast near the end of the book. Still, as I said before, while these characters are fleshed out to some extent, the book doesn't have enough time to fully expand on them, or maybe it would have more time if not for the book's biggest weakness, the class struggle romance storyline. Anytime Attack on Titan Garrison Girl focuses on its central storyline, it underdelivers. Rosalie is a noble, cousin to the king, and Jax is merely a commoner, not worthy of Rosalie in the eyes of society. Thus, conflict ensues as Rosalie's duty to her noble family gets in the way of her burgeoning romance with Jax. And this conflict is not very good. The schemes that are launched by the story's antagonists to keep the two lovebirds apart often make little sense, take up valuable page time, and really have no impact on the story. They just come and go with no real consequence. Not to mention, while the timeline of Jax and Rosalie falling for each other makes sense, as they do spend half a year getting to know each other and spending all that time together, the events covering that development happen at a rapid pace and leave their relationship wanting. It's not bad, it's just there, much like the book itself. There are some standout moments in the novel, however, that do a good job making up for some of its shortcomings. The combat in the book mainly centers around cannons rather than the 3D maneuver gear, and it makes an interesting break from the show, as we see the perspective of people who have a different role in the battle. Not to say there isn't any use of maneuver gear, it's just really not highlighted or focused on. It usually happens off page. Also, the outright horror of Titans comes through the pages, and the reader is left tense whenever the characters have to combat these deadly foes. The last 30 to 40 pages of the book are a good display of this, but you'll have to read that to discover for yourself. There are also a couple of emotional story beats near the end that give the reader a bit of payoff for their investment. This is still a story set in Attack on Titan, and it matches the darkness and death of the mainline series. It just does it with a less than stellar story, okay enough characters, and a rather blah romance. Overall, you can have a fine enough time with Garrison Girl, but once you put it down, you probably won't think of it much afterwards.